Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another video. Today we have a special message, a chilling message from Singapore's Prime Minister. He thinks that the current trade wars that are happening right now will lead to armed conflict. I wouldn't be so surprised if that was to happen, to be honest. We got 6.1 million views here 6 days ago from the Hindustan Times. Let's see what he's got to say.
My fellow Singaporeans, I've said before that the world is changing in ways that will disadvantage small open economies like Singapore. Some had previously questioned this assessment, but the recent Liberation Day announcement by the US leaves no room for doubt. It marks a seismic change in the global order. The era of rules-based globalization and free trade is over. We are entering a new phase, one that is more arbitrary, protectionist, and dangerous. For decades, the US was the bedrock for the free market economies of the world. It championed free trade and led efforts to build a multilateral trading system, anchored by clear rules and norms, where countries could achieve win-win benefits through trade. This WTO system brought unprecedented stability and prosperity to the world and to the US itself. To be clear, the system is not perfect. Singapore and many others have long called for reform to update the rules and to make the system better. But what the US is doing now is not reform. It is abandoning the entire system it had created. Its new approach of reciprocal tariffs, country by country, is a complete rejection of the WTO framework. The US has placed Singapore in the lowest base tier with a tariff of 10%. So the direct impact on us may be limited for now, but there are wider and more profound consequences. If other countries adopt the same approach as the US, abandoning the WTO and trading only on their own preferred terms, country by country, it will spell trouble for all nations, especially small ones like Singapore. We risk being squeezed out, marginalized, and left behind. We can also expect a strong global response to America's tariffs. Singapore has decided not to impose retaliatory tariffs, but other countries may not exercise the same restraint. The likelihood of a full-blown global trade war is growing.
Yeah, what I saw just recently was that many countries have actually gone over to President Trump and negotiated a 0 for 0 tariff. I don't know if that's going to be pushed through or not. I saw an article recently the EU decided to approach Trump with that deal. China is the only one that seems to be retaliating, and the percentages just go up between the US and China. I think there's a lot more going on here than just a trade war. I watched a video just recently, and this particular person was arguing that this is actually a monetary war. He made reference to what's going on now, to what happened in, don't quote me on the date, the 1870s, something along those lines, when the world went to the gold standard. And I think at the time, silver and gold were priced the same, or they were on the silver standard. Again, don't quote me on it. Let me know in the comments below if you know the actual specifics of it. I'll probably check after this video. But that's what happened. And apparently China got squeezed out of the global system then. And that's when they lost, apparently, according to this person. I'll see if I can reference the video, if I can find it. And this is what is being argued as happening now. So this is why this is going on. This particular person thinks that the system is going to change from, the standard of the US dollar, the gold standard, etc., from a physical item to Bitcoin or crypto. Now, I don't know if that is actually what's going on, but I find it interesting either way to be a spectator, because most of us we can't do anything about what's going on. We have to sit and wait and see what happens. We have to ride the storm.
The impact of the higher tariffs, plus the uncertainty of what other countries may do next, will weigh heavily on the global economy. International trade and investments will suffer, and global growth will slow. Singapore will take a bigger hit than others because of our heavy reliance on trade. The last time the world experienced something like this was in the 1930s. Trade wars escalated into armed conflict and eventually the Second World War. No one can say how the current situation will unfold in the coming months or years.
Let me know in the comments below if you think the Second World War was based on trade. We're all taught different things in different countries, from my understanding, which makes a lot of sense. That isn't what I was taught. Now, I'm sure part of that led to World War II, but there's a lot more bigger things going on. So I'm not quite sure I agree with that statement, but let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree on that.
But we must be clear-eyed about the dangers that are building up in the world. Global institutions are getting weaker. International norms are eroding. More and more countries will act based on narrow self-interest and use force or pressure to get their way.
Yep, don't disagree with that. That's what's really been happening over the last few centuries. If you read any books on realism, that's really what the world is. In my opinion, that's what the world is. As soon as something like this happens in terms of the trade war, every country is for itself, and that is just realism. That's how it is. If the US doesn't want to support other countries and it wants to become more isolationist, at the end of the day, that is how the state of the world naturally will be.
This is the harsh reality of our world today. We will stay vigilant. We will build up our capabilities. We will strengthen our network of partnerships with like-minded countries. We are more ready than many other countries with our reserves, our cohesion, and our resolve.
Singapore has great relationships with the rest of the world, so I don't think they're going to have a problem. I just came back from a trade show in Singapore. There's people from all over the world doing business there. It's a great place.
But we must brace ourselves for more shocks to come. The global calm and stability we once knew will not return anytime soon. We cannot expect that the rules which protected small states will still hold. I'm sharing this with you so that we can all be mentally prepared, so that we will not be caught off guard. Let us not be lulled into complacency. The risks are real and the stakes are high. The road ahead will be harder. But if we stay resolute and united, Singapore will continue to hold its own in this troubled world.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Let me know in the comments below what you think. The way I see things is that the US has been maintaining the global system, with trade relationships, propping up other countries. Even you can even look at China. The whole reason China is what it is today is because the US gave it access to the global market. So everyone has been ultra reliant on the US. Now with the trade wars, now with Trump coming in, everyone's hating on the US. They're hating on Trump. But the fact is the US has been propping up the global system. Now, by doing all this, it changes everything, which I can understand why people hate what's going on. And maybe if you even voted for Trump, let me know in the comments below. You probably regret that decision. I don't know. But I do believe that what is going on now when it comes to the trade wars, tariffs, there's a deeper meaning here. There's something else going on. And I believe it's a distraction for something else. So let me know in the comments below what you think. And I'll see you in the next one.